everybody, it's me again. Want to talk to you about a new flick, older flick, but one that I didn't review yet. Is Day of the Dead from 1985, directed by George A. Romero, the legendary George A. Romero, rest in peace. I did review Dawn of the Dead, and I like the trilogy, the Night, Dawn, and Day of the Dead. So I'm gonna do Night too. I'm doing them in reverse. So, but no, it's Day of the Dead is actually, I have to say, Greg Nicotero and Tom Savini worked together to make the special effects. If you have to look at the zombies in this movie, they were a lot creepier. You have the Dr. Tongue zombie, which is the first zombie you see with his chin away and his tongue hanging out, and a lot of zombies with bites in their faces and things, eyes missing, and they looked creepy. They looked like real zombies that were rotting away, and they actually, those zombies were creepier than any zombie movie I ever seen, even the Walking Dead series. That's it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, especially if you got Greg Nicotero and the assistant from Tom Savini. Those two, they got away from the just painting green, blue, and zombies, and that's why I think Day of the Dead is better, but Dawn of the Dead has more story, because this takes place in a missile silo, an old missile silo of Second World War, and Laurie Cardille plays Dr. Sarah Bowman. That's one of our lead characters, and then of course the antagonist is Joseph Pilato, who plays Rhodes, Captain Rhodes, right? Greg Nicotero is also plays a part in there, Private Johnson. He doesn't say a lot, but he is there. He's playing a soldier. Richard Liberty plays Dr. Logan, or his nickname is Frankenstein. And these are the main characters. You also got John, the helicopter pilot, McDermott, the alcoholist, drinking radio operator, and then the two privates that stood out to me were Private Steele, who was somewhat Captain Rhodes' right-hand man, and a racist and a sexist and everything you don't want to see in somebody like that, and a little bit crazy too. And you got Private Miguel Salazar, which was the hookup romantic relationship with Sarah, but he couldn't handle it anymore. He couldn't hack it anymore. He got depressed. He got scared. He was completely broken down. Okay. Now you also got Dr. Ted Fisher in here, who plays. His name is John Amplas. He also he's a Romero steady actor. Romero uses him a lot. Like he's in Martin, his vampire movie from Romero. He's in. He plays in the Creepshow season, the first Creepshow 1, the first clip with the zombie grandpa. Where's my cake? If you've seen that clip. And he's also in Dawn of the Dead. I don't know as what, but he's also in Dawn of the Dead. Richard Liberty, Dr. Logan, Frankenstein, is also in the George Romero, I think 1974, the Crazies, as one of the surviving members of the group that are trying to run away from the army and the Crazies, mostly from the army, because that movie focuses more on the army as the enemy, where the remake focuses more on the Crazies as the enemy. This movie, music is great. It's got this weird tone. This, yeah, when the opening scene where Sarah is waking up from a dream and she's staring at this wall, and she goes to the wall and sees a calendar with a nice field of grass and trees, and then all these zombie hands come out of the wall and she's just taken by the zombie. That was a dream. That was cool. And then when they arrive at this city, now this one had the biggest budget, because they had the entire city there that was in Florida, filmed in Florida. For them all, it was completely cut off. Hundreds and hundreds of zombies, and you see that awesome, the paper that flies against the window and says "The Dead Walk," which was really cool. And apparently every zombie who played in the movie got the paper with "The Dead Walk" in a frame, $1. And I think something else too, they got some souvenirs and things like that. But everybody wanted to play a zombie back then. For a George Romero movie, that was a privilege. It's not about money, it's just about privilege. And then of course you have, Private Salazar yelling through the megaphone, "Hello, anybody alive?" And then you see all the zombies coming out. You see the police station. You see an alligator, which was a real alligator, by the way, and the police zombies behind it, and the zombies' eyes out. I mean, creepy zombies, and you see them all getting out of the houses, and then you could hear it through the helicopter blades, and John, the pilot, says, "Oh," because McDermott keeps saying, "Is there somebody there?" through the radio. It doesn't matter anymore. You can hear it through the blades. Listen. Then you hear this sound, the zombies that are just coming up, and because the first zombie we see is the tongue zombie, Dr. Tongue zombie, they call him. It's a zombie without a chin and the tongue's hanging out. Really cool makeup effect kind of zombie. And the movie, when eventually they go back, originally they would see a fisherman's boat, and they would see survivors on a fisherman boat, and they wanted to get there, but they couldn't because of the thousands of zombies, in the city. So they had to leave them there. They went back to the silo, and they see that another one died, Major Cooper, which was the leader of the military unit there. Now, of course, Captain Rhodes, Joseph Pilato, takes over. He's next in line, but he's a tyrant. He wants to know everything what the scientists are doing, and he's like, constantly saying that, "What the fuck are you guys doing? We want to know." And one guy, Dr. Fisher, says, "This is a scientific mission. You are our protection. Your protection has died. Now I'm running this monkey farm," he says, "and I want to know what you're doing with my time and my men," because the military, the soldiers had to round up zombies from the wild, put them in a secure location underground somewhere where they can't just get out. And if they need a zombie, they, call them out, coming to a gate, put them on a sort of a leash, so the scientists could experiment on them. But Sarah and Fisher were trying to find a cure, to reverse the problem. But Frankenstein, Dr. Logan, was actually doing something completely else, cutting them up. We later learned that we see, when Sarah comes to visit him, we see a zombie that, is still alive, and he tips over, and the flap of skin falls, and all his entrails fall. Really gory scenes, really gory scenes. But the real gore is left to the end. And he puts a drill in his head, and you see the drill going in, and he's dead. He said he was too unruly, I couldn't handle him. But he has this one zombie called Bub, I think, which he apparently could learn tricks and make him behave, and learn to read, learn to play with toys, and eventually even learn to how to use a gun. This is shown when Captain Rhodes and Steele are visiting, and they're showing it, and he can even talk a little bit, and he's saluting Captain Rhodes, but Rhodes doesn't want to salute because he says it's a bag of meat, I'm not going to salute that. And he gets angry, and Sarah gives him the gun. She always has a sidearm. The rest of the doctors don't. She's the only doctor who has a sidearm. And he clicks it and points it at Rhodes and shoots, but there's no bullets in. So he wanted to kill him. Rhodes has these two like Colt Python revolvers, cool looking revolvers, and points one of them at him, and then Logan steps in front of him. No, he says, don't kill him. But after that, of course, Captain Rhodes is angry. They're holding a meeting. Is that what you're doing with our time? Teaching them tricks? And he said, basically what Logan wants to do is to make them behave. And by giving them treats. Now, treats, they don't know what the treats are. The treats are basically the soldiers who died. He cut them up. He buried them out of their graves. Sarah sees it at some point when she visits him and sees Major Cooper, and you see his head off, and you see his arms off, and basically he's feeding the zombies the dead bodies, and he's feeding them entrails and things like that. Now after, of course, Rhodes, kind of knows this, he just blasts, Frankenstein away with his M16. At this time, he already lost about 2 soldiers. Greg Nicoteros, the private Johnson, died, and another guy died. I think he lost 2 or 3 soldiers at this point because of the zombies that they had to collect. Salazar lost a zombie, and he attacked Johnson, and he fired with a rifle, and he shot somebody. I think another private was attacked, and Johnson was shot to death by the other guy. The other guy says, "Kill me, please. I don't want to become these things." Steele shoots him through the head. So they're pretty angry, and Salazar is walking away. There is a point where he's bitten in the arm because he wants to kill a zombie with a pole, but the zombie takes his arm, chews. You can really see the bite chewing out of the flesh, really explicit scenes, and he's running away like a crazed man. But the only people, Dr. Sarah, Laurie Cardilla, could count on was Dr. Fisher and John and McDermott, the helicopter pilot, and because they were they set up a trailer somewhere far from where the soldiers were, and they made it like they made it look like Hawaii or something to be, and she went to them. She knocked out Salazar, cut off his arm with a machete, burned it. He's still alive. He's screeching in pain, and of course Steele and Rhodes want to kill him, but John and McDermott, they have Uzis and they're aiming them at him, and there's a little bit of a Mexican standoff. Now, of course, spoilers from this point on, so if you've never seen the movie, this is a big spoiler. So you've got Private Steele left. Captain Rhodes is the leader. You also got Rickles, Private Rickles, and another guy. I'm not sure what his name is. So 4 soldiers are left. Okay, and the other guys, good guys, have Salazar, but he's basically, he's doped up because his arm was cut off. Then you've got John and McDermott, and then of course you've got Dr. Fisher at this point is captured and killed by Rhodes. This happens when McDermott goes to, they need medicine for Salazar, and they go to collect the medicine. McDermott goes with them, but they get ambushed, and they have Dr. Fisher, and it's that moment where Logan gets killed. They get Logan, they see the bodies in a cooler of the soldiers they just lost, cut to pieces, and he's saying, "You're a fucking butcher, brats," with the M16 gone. Logan just shot through the head, and at this precise moment, apparently Salazar escaped the trailer, and I never understood why he did that, because he loved Sarah in a weird way, and maybe he thought he's gonna be a zombie. Maybe they were too late, but maybe they weren't. But he was completely depressed, and he goes on with this big elevator on top, and there's all these zombies, banging on the steel fences. He let the zombies free. He goes to the elevator, lies down, and does this thing, and then he puts this sort of relic, a religious relic in his mouth. Now thinking he's a Muslim or something, or a Jew, or that wasn't like you're Christian or Catholic. Miguel Salazar is like Latin, I guess. You can't have Muslim Latins, but he put that in his mouth, and then he has the controller of the elevator. That guy died a horrible death because he waited that there were like 100 zombies on the elevator plate, which could hold an helicopter and things and that. So it was big, and he was ripped to shreds. You see his throat being ripped open, and then he clicks on the remote, zombies go down, and he basically just fucks everybody who's down there, including Sarah. So I never understood. I think he just went batshit crazy. He was already unhinged from the get-go, but that moment he was completely crazy. He just, instead of committing suicide, he just wanted to commit suicide and let the rest die. Okay, Captain Rhodes, Steele, those soldiers were assholes, but the doctors weren't assholes. Maybe Logan, because he just, okay, he didn't cut open the living, but he did cut open dead soldiers and desecrated their bodies. But and he ordered them to get, catch zombies from the wild, which is really dangerous. But you know what I mean? Like Fisher, like John, McDermott, Sarah, they were helping him. So he basically just signed their, you know, their their debts. You know, eventually they make it out through the area where all the zombies were kept, using, you know, weapons and things like that. And in the meantime, the soldiers are trying to defend themselves, but they're getting slaughtered. I mean, one gets his head jerked off of his body, and you hear him screaming. And when he screams, he's got, it goes louder and louder and louder. Rickles, he's just laughing. He's gone crazy, shooting some zombies, and they rush on him. And the way he dies is they're biting off his fingers, and he keeps laughing, and then they're just peeling off his face, and the eyeball comes out, and it's pretty gross. And he keeps laughing, but at the same time yelling because he's in pain. It was a fucked up scene. Steel Rhodes closes the door. He doesn't wait for Steel. Steel is sitting there blasting with his M16, but just in their bodies, so they're just hold back a little bit. But then he opens the door with his M16, goes in. Rhodes is going to get some ammunition. Steel sees Bud and takes his sidearm and uses it to follow him and shoot him in the head. But then a zombie comes from the corner and bites his arm, and then another one bites his neck. And he knows at this point, he shoots some zombies, he knows at this point he's going to become a zombie. What he does is the most sane thing. He just puts the gun in his mouth and blasts through his head. He does a little prayer like this, blast through the head. Captain Rhodes' death is probably the most fucked up death of them all, because he gets shot by Bud twice or 3 times, and the moment when he gets the 3rd shot, he opens the door with all zombies behind it. He wants to get away. He gets shot in somewhere in the gut, and then the zombies just tear him in half. He's puking blood, and you see the guts hanging out, and the legs, they're taking your legs away. And while they're doing that, he's yelling, "Choke on it, choke on that." He's saying, choke on the choke on me, you know, choke on me, you know, that's what he's yelling. And apparently the guts they used for that scene were supposed to be in a cooler, but the cooler failed and things were all rotten. It stank so much that the zombies had to put Vaseline, you know, on their nose, because there were people puking because the stench was overwhelming. And apparently they didn't have time to get new entrails, so it was, you know, were entrails from animals, but they, I mean, that set was done multiple times, and, you know, but the zombies had to take the entrails and put it on their faces to eat it, and it was raw. I mean, fuck, man. Jesus. Now like I said, this movie, then John, McDermott, and Sarah find their way out to the helicopter, and there's this jump scare at this moment with a zombie hand going to her. You think she's gonna get killed, but no, we end on a beach where John is fishing, McDermott is feeding like the gulls, and she's writing a book. She's reading, she's sleeping, and she has this calendar made up and says day one in a pretty comfortable place on a beach. So, if did they survive after that? Did they had a comfortable beach with resources and things like that? Because they couldn't take anything with them because they had to go in a hurry. We'll never know. We'll never know. This movie is, if I have to say, Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Living Dead, Day. Dawn is basically the staple movie of the zombie movie of them all. But in terms of gore and how the zombies look, the special makeup effects and things like that, Day is much better. That one, I think Dawn cost about $1.5 million. This one was 3.5 or 6.5, because if you can close down a complete side of a town in Florida, then you got money, right? So yeah, I think it's the better one, but you get a little bit more backstory of the in Dawn, especially if you see the complete cut, the mall cut. You can find it on YouTube, but I'm gonna put the link to the uncut, because you got the cut version. You have to see the uncut version, which has the gore and roads being torn in half, because it was on the video nasties list, for a long time. So I've put the uncut version, a link to the uncut version there on Daily Motion. Gotta deal with the ads, but still got the movie. So I'm gonna put the link in there. I'm also gonna put the link, because I'm trying to put the link, I'm not sure if it can work, the picture of Captain Joseph Pilato. He was also in Dawn of the Dead as one of the police officers at the port, where Flyboy Peter and his wife are waiting for Stephen is waiting for Peter and what's his name, the two SWAT guys. Yeah, I'll forget. Waiting for two SWAT guys, but there are police officers there with the same intention to bail with the boat, but they want to take the helicopter, but they don't know how to, drive it, to handle it. So that's also with Joseph Pilato. He plays the main cop, the leader cop. Like I said, Richard Liberty. I'll put some info what happens to him in the Crazies. I didn't find a picture, but the fandom, what happens to him in the Crazies. So look in the description and you'll find some neat stuff. Okay, see you later for the next one. Bye bye.